Back in the 70s and 80s, competition between restaurants was so tough that someone could close down just a month after opening up. Things were that intense because it was an era where food was everyone's middle name. Remember the buffets? You could stuff yourself for hours on quality food and still have more in the tank for dinner. What on earth happened to all those restaurants from back then? Did they really just disappear? Or was there something more behind it? Join us as we look at 20 of the worst restaurants from that era that have faded into history. 20. Sizzler Buffet Court and Grill.
Introducing a bold new dining experience, Sizzler's new all-you-can-eat buffet court.
Where do we start?
Sizzler Grill carved out a unique niche in the American dining landscape that many new age brands are still trying to recreate. There was just something that hit your soul with how they blended the allure of grilled-to-order steaks with the novelty of an all-you-can-eat buffet. The chain's signature offering, a steak paired with unlimited trips to the salad bar, made the steakhouse experience an unforgettable one for middle-class families. We had working dads promising kids a trip to Sizzler's for their birthdays. It was that big of a deal. Sizzler's self-serve salad bar, which was kind of an eye-popping concept at the time, pushed the customers to customize their meals with an array of fresh ingredients. After all, being able to customize is the sweetest part about being a customer, wouldn't you say? It comes with the name, too. The restaurant's interiors were awash in earth tones and spruced with faux wood paneling, but perhaps the most iconic eye-catcher was Sizzler's complimentary cheese toast. However, as Sizzler's popularity waned with the economic tides, it became nothing more than a pleasant memory. Much like the next item on our list, no soul really gets excited at a potential trip to this joint. 19. Canadian Ponderosa.
Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Fletcher, their first Ponderosa and just in time. It's the last day before payday. Look at those super value meals.
Against all odds, Canadian Ponderosa carved out its own identity in the dog-eat-dog world of the Great White North. As an offshoot of the American steakhouse chain, it met fierce competition, but this buffet-style restaurant soon became a beloved fixture in many Canadian communities and even beyond. It was the kind of good food that crossed borders no problem. The restaurant's rustic decor, reminiscent of a cozy log cabin, provided a warm retreat from the harsh Canadian winters. Diners would crowd around the buffet, piling their plates high with roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, alongside more distinctly Canadian fare like poutine and butter tarts. The Mountie Special, a hefty steak served with a side of maple-glazed bacon, became a menu favorite, playfully nodding to Canadian heritage. Ponderosa's all-you-can-eat format was all you needed to convince hardworking families to come over. Before long, it was a popular choice for weekend outings and special occasions. As the chain expanded across provinces, it adapted to regional tastes, even incorporating Atlantic seafood options in the Maritimes and Alberta beef prominently in Western locations. This means you might have had a different Ponderosa style depending on where you lived. Maybe that's why it fell out of favor, who knows? All I know is that people turned against it after its prime in the 80s. It's still a mystery why no one wants to associate with it. To be fair, it didn't have a lot going for it in the first place, unlike our next entry, which was the undisputed matador of the buffet universe. 18. Roy Rogers. Named after the iconic King of the Cowboys, Roy Rogers restaurants lassoed the hearts of Americans in the 70s and 80s with their home-style cooking. This chain stood out from the herd with its Western-themed decor and a menu that went beyond typical burger joint fare. Let's just say it was a bit on the expensive side, but still affordable enough to give you one hell of a ride. The centerpiece of many Roy Rogers locations was the Fixin's Bar, a self-serve buffet where customers could create their sandwiches with an array of fresh toppings. The chain's signature Double R-Bar burger became a fan favorite because it was topped with ham and melted cheese. It even rivaled the popularity of their crispy fried chicken. Roy Rogers also mastered the concept of fast casual dining before the term existed, offering a slightly more upscale experience than its competitors with real plates and metal utensils instead of disposable alternatives. The restaurants often featured memorabilia from Roy Rogers' Hollywood career, creating an engaging atmosphere that appealed to both kids and adults. As the chain expanded, difficulties started to roll in, even though it became known for its regional specialties like the roast beef sandwiches that were particularly popular in the Northeast. All that love was apparently short-lived because, whether you like it or not, public opinion turned on Roy Rogers. They just couldn't adapt fast enough, so they got left behind. In the food business, fortunes can change at the snap of a finger. Don't feel too bad or nostalgic, because our next entry will definitely have you in your feelings. 17. The Velvet Turtle.
All the little imperfections of the house, there's a story behind every little kink in it.
As a California-born restaurant chain that flourished in the 70s, the Velvet Turtle reclassified the essence of upscale casual dining that never stops. As long as you could eat it, there was always more available. Named for its signature turtle soup dish, the restaurant quickly became known for its plush, dimly lit interiors. It may have exuded an air of sophisticated comfort, but that's not all it takes to have a successful restaurant. Sure, the deep green velvet booths, ornate brass fixtures, and the soft glow of Tiffany-style lamps created a luxurious atmosphere, but the food needed to be more than special to keep customers for the long run. The Velvet Turtle's menu was a curious blend of continental cuisine and American classics, which in hindsight should have warned us that they might soon go under. It offered everything from escargot to prime rib. Its Sunday brunch became legendary, featuring a lavish spread that included made-to-order omelets, carved meats, and a decadent dessert bar that became the talk of suburban social circles. The restaurant's lounge area often featured live piano music. That was enough to make it a popular spot for after-work drinks and romantic rendezvous. As the chain expanded beyond California, it brought a taste of West Coast sophistication to Middle America, introducing many people to their first experience of Vichyssoise and Cherry's Jubilee. The Velvet Turtle's eventual decline in the late 80s marked the end of an era. Where else could you get authentic California-style turtle soup? It left behind some good memories, and at least we are lucky enough that their decline didn't have us second-guessing our past decision to eat there. If you're trying to remember a restaurant that made endless abundance of food a reality, look no further than what we have for you next. 16. Golden Corral.
Juicy, tender, golden fried shrimp. Lightly breaded so they fry up golden delicious. So if you really like shrimp, you're gonna love Golden Corral.
While it was created in the lesser-known town of Fayetteville, North Carolina, in 1973, this restaurant quickly expanded to hungry patrons nationwide. Golden Corral's signature feature was its massive, and I mean massive, buffet. Experiencing it just once was enough to wonder how steam tables brimming with comfort foods could seem to stretch endlessly. The chain prided itself on offering something for everyone, from made-to-order steaks to a dizzying array of desserts, which includes its famous chocolate waterfall fountain that you turned into your second home as a child. Some unfortunate kids must have passed out from drinking all that chocolate because they really let you have as much as you could handle. Unlike its predecessors, which often focused on a single cuisine or limited options, Golden Corral offered a United Nations equivalent of food under one roof. Diners could pile their plates with Southern fried chicken, Mexican tacos, Italian pasta, and Chinese stir-fry all in one visit. This approach was a peak example of the growing diversity of American palates and the increasing desire for variety in dining experiences. The restaurant's decor mirrored its heartland roots with warm wood tones, brass accents, and homey decorations that made patrons feel as if they were at a grand family reunion. The open kitchen concept, where people could watch their steaks being grilled to order, added an element of cinema suspense to the experience. Golden Corral also became particularly known for its breakfast buffet, which turned the weekend into an amusement park we looked forward to, complete with made-to-order omelets and endless stacks of fluffy pancakes. The Golden Corral was great, but up next we have a buffet restaurant with an irresistible core appeal of limitless choices and generous portions. 15. Woolworths. This iconic five and dime store was more than just a retailer in the 70s. It was a cultural institution that included a beloved lunch counter that held a special place in the landscape. With its distinctive red vinyl stools and Formica countertops, Woolworth's lunch counter was a place where people from all walks of life could eat to their heart's content. The menu seemed to defy the passage of time. Patrons could still order classic American fare like grilled cheese sandwiches, burgers, and milkshakes, all prepared with a theatrical flair that would make Broadway performers jealous. The aroma of fresh coffee and the sound of spatulas scraping the grill was the trigger that made you know some seriously good food was about to hit your stomach. Its connection to the shopping experience was a good addition to its CV. Hungry shoppers could take a break from browsing aisles of affordable household goods to refuel with a chocolate malt. The gradual disappearance of Woolworths and its lunch counters marked the end of an era. While we are gradually learning to leave memories of chrome-edged tables and paper placemats behind, our next entry is a long-gone relic that will make your heart ache for a taste of your childhood. 14. Hometown Buffet.
At Hometown Buffet, dessert's always a big favorite. But Monday through Thursday, it's Dessert Central. Whoa!
Hometown Buffet emerged in the 1980s as a standard American joint, capturing the essence of heartland values and comfort food abundance. Founded in 1983, this chain quickly became a staple in suburban and small-town landscapes across the United States. The restaurant's concept was to create an environment that felt like a potluck. Upon entering, you were greeted by the warm aroma of freshly baked rolls and the sight of seemingly endless buffet stations stretching across the dining room. With walls adorned with vintage photographs and Americana, you felt right at home. Hometown Buffet's menu was a celebration of American culinary traditions, featuring a rotating selection of dishes that represented various regional cuisines. Diners could pile their plates high with Southern fried chicken, Midwestern pot roast, New England clam chowder, and Tex-Mex enchiladas. The salad bar, a focal point of the restaurant, boasted a rainbow of fresh vegetables and prepared salads. The open layout allowed parents to keep an eye on children as they explored the buffet, while the kids' corner featured child-height serving stations with kid-approved favorites like macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. The dessert station, with its soft-serve ice cream machine and array of pies and cakes, became a particular draw for young customers and even those who claimed to be young at heart. Very much like our next entry, it soon became synonymous with family gatherings, post-church Sunday lunches, and celebrations of all kinds. 13. Stuckey's. Let's take a moment to remember Stuckey's, the chain that was everywhere when road trips really meant staring at your dashboard while stuck in the middle of nowhere. Though it was founded in the 1930s, it hit its peak in the 80s, and then, well, let's just say it drifted into that hazy realm where good restaurants go to die. If you were traveling across the country back then, Stuckey's was the buffet of hope on the lonely highway. You were lured in by promises of gas, snacks, and the holy grail of southern sweets in the form of the pecan log roll. There was something about road trip fatigue that made you believe this was your last chance to fill yourself up with nougat dipped in caramel and smothered in pecans. It wasn't healthy, but neither was driving 6 hours straight without a break. Even with all that food on deck, Stuckey's soon became one of those relics of roadside feasts, a postcard from a place you don't even remember existed, even though some branches are still open, if you're lucky enough to spot one. Up next, we have a restaurant chain that talked big and made a lot of promises, but ended up disappointing us in the worst way. 12. Ryan's. This place had it all. Endless rows of food as far as the eye could see. It had enough mac and cheese, fried chicken, and desserts to end your diet for good. Ryan's was the place you went when you didn't want to choose what to eat, because why have one thing when you can have everything? Even though you regretted it about 20 minutes after stuffing yourself like a Thanksgiving turkey. It was also where the phrase, "eyes bigger than your stomach," was practically the restaurant's unofficial slogan. And yet, for all its culinary confusion, people kept coming back for more. With Ryan's, life was more about quantity than quality. For a while, that wasn't such a bad thing, but soon enough they compromised so much on quality that the general population had to kick them to the curb. It was a sad ending for a once beloved restaurant. Up next, we have a place where breakfast was served all day long, and the pies put so much peer pressure on you that you had about 5 each time you visited. 11. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery. Perkins started humbly in 1958 as a simple pancake house in Cincinnati, Ohio, known back then as Perkins Pancake House. It was the post-war era. People were looking for a place to relax and eat, but they preferably wanted something smothered in syrup. It's fair to say they got exactly what they wanted. By the 80s, Perkins had evolved into the 8th wonder of the world. Maybe not that exactly, but it was a full-fledged diner with an extensive menu that catered to people's growing love for everything they could get their hands on. Whether you were in the mood for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Perkins had it covered. The menu was classic: pancakes, waffles, omelets, and the occasional oddball offering, like a salad no one ordered. And then there were the baked goods, those pies lined up in a glass case like they were on display at a pastry museum. Oh, you weren't planning on dessert? Too bad, because that mile-high slice of French silk was calling your name, and you weren't going to say no. Perkins was that cozy spot where you could grab a plate of pancakes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why should breakfast only be eaten in the morning? Life's short, so why wait? Even though most buffet restaurants got wiped out, some locations remain, but Perkins is no longer the force it once was. It may have been a force, but it was nothing compared to the utopia where salads went to thrive and soup lovers gathered to party like never before. Where on earth could that be? Nowhere else but the next restaurant coming up on our list. 10. Plantation. Also known as Sweet Tomatoes in some parts of the country, Plantation was a buffet haven for health-conscious munchers. Founded in 1978 in San Diego, California, it quickly became a destination for anyone who wanted to eat healthy, but also wanted to pile all those vegetables on top of a mountain of macaroni and cheese. At Plantation, you were met with an endless salad bar featuring an array of greens, toppings, and dressings that made you feel like you were a master chef, even if your specialty creation was just lettuce with a lot of ranch. You could mix and match toppings like it was a chemistry experiment. Let's throw in some croutons. Don't forget the shredded cheese. Let's add the bacon bits together and see what happens. It was crazy like that, but who could forget their signature soups? From the classic clam chowder to seasonal favorites like butternut squash, every visit felt like a holiday special. However, despite its success, Plantation faced challenges as the years rolled on. By 2020, the economic shutdown dealt the final blow, leading to the closure of many locations. Plantation will forever remain in our hearts, much like the restaurant coming up next. It was a place where crepes were spun like fairy tales, and you could never really see the bottom of the food pile. Can you already guess what this mysterious buffet restaurant is? 9. The Magic Pan. The Magic Pan first opened its doors in 1971. It was a place that promised an escape from the mundane, serving up a menu centered around one dish, the crepe. You could stroll in and feel like you were stepping into a French cafe. Savory or sweet, these thin pancakes were filled with everything from ratatouille to strawberries and whipped cream. The experience was a visual feast. Crepe-making stations allowed you to watch chefs perform their wizardry. Who knew flipping pancakes could be such a captivating art form? But let's not forget the decor. The Magic Pan had an ambiance that felt like a charming bistro, with warm lighting and eclectic touches. The combined effect slammed you on a little European adventure. It was a perfect spot for date nights or even family outings. With all those pancakes flooding out of the kitchen, it's no wonder they ran out of business. You can only sustain that for so long, right? Maybe they should have taken a cue from the untouchable business model of our next entry. 8. Old Country Buffet. In your mind, try to remember a place where you could jump from fried chicken to mashed potatoes and then to a suspiciously wobbly gelatin salad all under one roof. Could it have been anywhere but Old Country? The charm of Old Country Buffet was so pure that you never once questioned going there 3 times a week. You walked in, paid one price, and suddenly the world was your oyster with a side of corn. The atmosphere was as homey as Grandma's kitchen. And the desserts? They took you straight to the land of milk and honey. The dessert bar was a sugary wonderland featuring everything from chocolate cake to soft-serve ice cream. Hey, it's practically a balanced meal as long as you put some fruit on it, right? And the staff, bless their hearts, knew how to keep the food coming. But as the big 2000s rolled in, Old Country Buffet started to face some serious challenges. Competition from fast casual dining and other buffet chains forced OCB to rethink its offerings. Unfortunately, many locations began to close, and by 2018, the brand faced bankruptcy, leaving loyal fans feeling like they lost a family member. It wouldn't have been so painful if we didn't also lose the icon that is our next entry. It was the ultimate destination for pizza lovers, but that couldn't stop it from going under. 7. Izzys Pizza and Buffet. Why choose between pizza and some other dish when you can have both? With locations primarily in the Pacific Northwest, Izzys was the go-to place for kids' birthday parties and post-game celebrations. The concept was brilliant. A sprawling buffet featuring an army of pizzas, pastas, salads, and desserts that could put most buffet spreads to shame. You could grab a slice of pepperoni, hop over to the salad bar, and then somehow justify finishing the meal with an unholy amount of dessert. Who could resist those cookie and brownie trays? The chefs weren't just slinging cheese and sauce. They were crafting unique pies that catered to every palate. With classic favorites like BBQ chicken or taco pizza, there was something for even the picky eaters. And let's be honest, nothing says fun night out like the inevitable competition over who could eat the most slices. 6. Ocean City Buffet. Ocean City Buffet first made waves in the early years of the 20th century, promising you a mini vacation without ever needing to leave your hometown. With its inviting nautical theme, Ocean City was like stepping onto a cruise ship packed with copious amounts of fried shrimp and crab legs. And they were all finger-licking delicious, to put it simply. This buffet was the ultimate destination for seafood lovers. It had everything from crab legs and clam chowder to fried fish and shrimp scampi. And then some. If you thought you could escape without sampling at least 3 different kinds of seafood, think again. But Ocean City Buffet wasn't just built around seafood. It also catered to those who might be a little less enthusiastic about the catch of the day. The buffet spread included a variety of American comfort foods. It had all the usuals from mac and cheese to mashed potatoes, so there was something for everyone in the family. And let's not overlook the dessert bar, where you could find soft-serve ice cream, fruit tarts, and those delightful little cakes. The ambiance of Ocean City Buffet was relaxed and family-friendly, with seashell decor and ocean-themed murals that made you feel like you were dining right by the water. Even though Ocean City Buffet struggled to maintain its place in the market, its former glory won't need to struggle to keep its place in our stomachs. In that way, it kind of reminds me of our next entry. A place where pizza dreams were spun like a dream, and arcade games filled the air with the laughter of children. 5. Mr. Gottis. Mr. Gottis opened its doors in 1969, originally in Austin, Texas. It was the kind of place where kids could enjoy a slice or two of pizza while their parents kicked back and relaxed. Mr. Gottis was also a buffet-style wonderland. For the right price, you could pile your plates high with fresh pizza, pasta, salad, and a variety of sides. The pizza was the star of the show, with options ranging from classic pepperoni to more adventurous toppings like barbecue chicken and Hawaiian. You could be as adventurous as you wanted, or stick with the reliable cheese and pepperoni. And let's be honest, you probably ended up trying everything just to say you did. The room was often filled with the joyful sounds of kids chowing down while parents sipped on soft drinks or that magical punch. It was common to see families splitting their time between the buffet line and the arcade games, battling it out over skee-ball and air hockey. Mr. Gottis is similar to our next entry in the sense that the only thing bigger than the buffet was the number of toppings you could pile on your slice. 4. Ceces Pizza. Ceces Pizza first opened its doors in 1985. Coming from the lesser-known town of Abilene, Texas, it pulled off a huge feat by becoming popular. It was the buffet that promised a pizza party every day, where patrons could indulge in an impressive variety of pizzas, pasta, and even some surprisingly decent salad, if you felt like pretending to be healthy for a moment. The beauty of Ceces was in its price point. For one low price, you could enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet filled with slices of cheesy goodness. Ceces had you covered. The atmosphere at Ceces was as lively as the buffet line. Kids often celebrated birthdays amid the scent of fresh-baked pizza. The dining area was always filled with laughter, friendly banter, and the sounds of arcade games, as many locations featured a small gaming area to keep the little ones entertained. It was a quaint little place that should never have lost its mojo, but all good things must come to an end. While we have been talking about junk food all through this video, it's about time we talked about a place that specifically catered to people who hated filling themselves up with processed carbs. Our next entry has all the details you need. 3. Fresh Choice. Founded in California in 1986, Fresh Choice quickly carved out a niche for itself by emphasizing healthier, fresher options in a market dominated by indulgent all-you-can-eat spreads. Imagine stepping into a Fresh Choice restaurant on a sunny afternoon in the 80s. You grab a tray and make your way to the salad bar, the centerpiece of the restaurant. It's a sight to behold. A rainbow of fresh produce stretching as far as the eye can see. You overhear a woman excitedly telling her friend that she has never seen half as many vegetables in one place before. As you move down the line, piling your plate high with crisp romaine, juicy tomatoes, and crunchy cucumbers, you notice a businessman in a sharp suit carefully constructing what looks like a miniature salad masterpiece. You reach the dressing station and are momentarily overwhelmed by the options. A friendly staff member notices your hesitation and recommends the house-made poppy seed dressing that is made fresh every morning. That's exactly what it was like to dine at Fresh Choice before it declined. It's a shame we can't get something like that these days. Speaking of a huge shame, our next entry was supposed to last 100 years, but somehow it couldn't hold on to the magic that set it apart. 2. Bonanza Buffet. Bonanza brought a taste of the Old West to suburban America. Bonanza's signature offering was its steak and buffet concept. Diners could order a cook-to-order steak, which would be prepared on an open grill visible from the dining room. The sizzle of steaks and the aroma of grilled meat permeated the air, whetting appetites and setting the stage for a memorable meal. Initially focused on salad and simple sides, the buffet gradually expanded to include a wide array of hot dishes. This variety made Bonanza a crowd pleaser. The dessert bar became a particular draw, featuring soft-serve ice cream with an array of toppings, allowing diners to create their own sundaes. This interactive element was especially popular with children. It left an unforgettable mark on the collective memory of a generation, but they say nothing good lasts forever. No one needs to tell us that anymore, because the death of our final entry taught us everything we need to learn. 1. Shony's. Shony's, a beloved Southern institution that carved out a name for itself ever since it was founded in West Virginia in 1947. Shony's became famous for its breakfast buffet, which was introduced in the late 70s. This breakfast bar quickly became a weekend tradition for many families because it offered a sprawling array of morning favorites, from made-to-order eggs and crispy bacon to fluffy pancakes and fresh fruit. The sight of steam rising from chafing dishes filled with scrambled eggs and grits was all you needed to know. A perfect Saturday morning was in the books. Shony's also became known for its seasonal promotions, particularly its strawberry pies in the spring and pumpkin pies in the fall. These limited-time offerings created a sense of anticipation that helped to mark the changing of seasons. The restaurant's mascot, Shony Bear, also became a beloved character for many children of the era. The chain's name lives on in the memories of those who grew up with Shony's as their local family restaurant. It was simply unforgettable. If you had a time machine, which of these buffet restaurants would you visit first? Are there any restaurants we missed out on? Let us know in the comments so we can raise a toast to the forgotten hero. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. See you next time.